Vasel here. Welcome to Board Game Breakfast. This is a weekly show about board games and the people who play them. I'm here to talk about board games, and I'm joined by a whole lot of other people. And we're going to talk about all sorts of things today. It is a week before the Essen, or the Spiel Fair at Essen, Germany. So next week I'll be heading off to that. So there's a lot of gaming coming up. I got fewer reviews done last week than I normally do. I think I only did 6 because I was sick near the end of the week. So thank you for the people who said nice things. But I'm feeling a little bit better now. So we're back on schedule. I'll be doing a live Q&A today at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if you have any questions for us here. And like I said, last week we were going to try to do some Q&As. We'll definitely do some more Q&As this week. There's a lot of great stuff coming your way. So we're going to get started with the news. Jason is joining me on the news today to be my color commentator. So he doesn't actually know all the news on the list, so that way he'll be reacting to it the first time ever. All right, first of all, there's a 6th edition of Ogre coming out.
Really?
Yeah, this is it's supposed to come out in a more manageable size, because the last one was really too big.
It was like this big.
Do you have it?
No, I don't.
Really? You didn't get the giant one?
That would take up like a whole shelf on its own.
Oh, okay, I just thought you got everything. But would you get the newest one? A newer one?
I have
smaller?
the small package one already.
True. Really, right now you can buy Ogre in a
envelope,
plastic bag or an envelope, or you can buy it as gigantic box. So this will hopefully be somewhere in the middle. Commands and Colors Medieval has been announced by GMT.
Yes, that's good.
This is from Richard Borg. This is on the P500. If you don't know what P500 is, it's kind of like Kickstarter in a sense. Essentially, everyone goes in and says, "I will buy it." You put in your credit card information, and when they get to 500, they say, "Okay, we're going to print it," but they still don't print it. They wait till they get to like 700 people who said they do it. Then they'll print like twice that amount. They'll print double the number of people, and then they publish them.
And they won't charge you. The good thing about it is they won't charge you until they go to print.
Right, so this is the Persians versus the Byzantine Empire in the Dark Ages. So it's supposed to be the next version. Each time he does a new Commands and Colors, they seem to get more refined.
I know.
All right, Spyfall 2 was supposed to come out at Essen, but looks like it's been pushed back to January. And this one really boggles my mind, as it also boggles the Gibbons' mind. This one boggles my mind because I don't see how this is hard to publish.
I know.
It's pictures on cards, but whatever. All right, now this one is big news. Dominion and Dominion Intrigue are both getting a 2nd edition. All right, they're coming out with a 2nd edition of them. They're fixing a few cards, and they're also going to be taking cards out of the game and adding new cards. Now, if you already have Dominion or Dominion Intrigue, you don't need to worry. You can buy an upgrade pack where they'll have the changed cards or all the new ones. Here's the cards they're taking out of the original Dominion: Adventurer, Chancellor, Feast, Spy, Thief, and Woodcutter. Woodcutter's like one of those ones I know by heart because it's one of the base 10 cards, right?
Yes.
Adventurer, no one's going to miss Adventurer.
Not Chapel, the one where everyone weeded their deck out?
So they're adding some new cards. Here's one of the new ones they're adding: Merchant. The first time you play a silver, +1 money, and it's +1 card, +1 action.
Nice.
Okay. For the Intrigue, they're taking out the Coppersmith, which is sad because I like the Coppersmith, Great Hall, Saboteur, Scout, and Secret, something I can't read my own writing here, and Tribute. I'm really glad they're getting rid of Saboteur. It's one of my least favorite cards in the whole game.
Mine too. Saboteur's not a good one.
So, and they're adding, here's a new card they're adding from this one: Secret Passage. +2 cards, +1 action, and then take 1 card in your hand and put it anywhere in your deck.
Ooh, anywhere in your deck?
Well, usually you're going to just put it on top, right? But I mean, I guess you could put it on the bottom too. So you might have like a province card and you stick it on the bottom, I guess. I don't know. No, I don't think you would ever do that. You're just going to put a card on top of your deck. But maybe there's a reason you would put it somewhere else. Like maybe you draw 2 cards and you don't have an extra action, so you'll stick it the 3rd card down.
Or the 5th card down.
Either way, I'm very excited about this. I was like, oh, Dominion, another edition, but it has been 8 years since the game has come out.
Yep.
All right, let's see here. So IDW is printing a 2nd edition of The Game. The name of this game is The Game.
Part 2?
This is including the expansion. No, it's a reprint of it from IDW. It's a really stupid name here. I'm tired of talking about this. Chariot Race is coming from Pegasus. It's going to be at Essen. I don't know who's picking it up in America, but this is a racing game with dice by Matt Leacock. Have you played this one?
No, I haven't, but it sounds great.
Yeah, it's a lot lighter than you think. You like roll, roll, roll type thing, and then use what you've rolled to move around and fight other people and things like that. There's a new thing coming out for Descent, The Delve. This is for the app, and the app was doing some campaigns. This one's going to be like a random campaign where you're like trapped in a portal, and then you go through like 4 normal rooms and you fight 2 bosses, and each expansion you have adds a whole pile of new stuff to this. It sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Fantasy Flight also announced a new expansion for Eldritch Horrors, shockingly, Dreamlands. This is the 3rd large expansion and the 6th expansion overall, so when they said they weren't going to make it as complicated as Arkham Horror,
It is.
they lied. It's not at Arkham Horror level yet, but it's certainly getting close. The tabletop has been delayed because they're going to be putting it on a new channel called Alpha. This is a pay-for channel. I think it's like $5 a month. This has caused all sorts of stress in the world. We should be clear that there was an Indiegogo campaign for tabletop. Some people are saying, well, they already got money. That was for season 3.
Yes.
This is season 4. Tabletop, it was part of Geek and Sundry, which was bought by a company called Legendary. They make a lot of movies. They're a huge company. So, and as far as I can tell, the first 2 episodes will be free, but you will eventually be able to see them later on.
Supposedly in 2017, these episodes are going to be all for free, but at first you have to alpha them. I don't know how I feel about it. I think it hurts the publishers more than anything because, if your game's on that show and you need to get it out in the mass market at the time, you don't know what the timing is. Are people going to alpha it? Are people going to wait till January? What do you do if you're a publisher?
My concern is more, Tabletop has been a great show to bring new people in the hobby. So many people, maybe some of you, have come watched our show because of Tabletop. The thing is, when something's not free, new people don't go watch it. I don't pay for something if I don't know what it is. But maybe we're wrong. We'll see how it works. Anyway, that's the news. Let's go to Kickstarter news.
Happy breakfast, everybody, and welcome to October. Let's take a look at what's happening in our crowdfunding world today. PSC Games is kickstarting the next game in the Quartermaster General series, Quartermaster General 1914. This is a card-based war game set in World War I that plays like a Euro game with multi-use cards. Each card can be played or prepared and contributes differently depending on how it's used, and you're kind of controlling your country's limited units on the board. Moreover, your deck is your complete resource pool, so while you can use cards to boost your actions, doing so will burn through your deck, which is risky. At just 90 minutes to play, Quartermaster General 1914 is a relatively quick game, but it has a lot of strategy. Now, this campaign is definitely a pre-order campaign because the game is releasing at Essen, and you could pick up your copy there. Or for backers not attending the spiel, you'll get your game shipped in October, so you'll get it before it hits the general market. A copy of Quartermaster General 1914 takes a pledge of £35 plus shipping. Moving on to World War II, the popular Heroes of Normandy now has a card game version intended to play in under an hour. A lot of the mechanisms will feel familiar to those who've played the board game, but now action order is even more critical. You'll have to combine your headquarters, units, and heroes efficiently together and leverage events at just the right time to blast your opponent. And overall, this looks like a streamlined version of Heroes of Normandy because you'll still be leveraging dice rolls for actions, but movement is simplified and the board scenarios seem more compact. If you love this universe of stylized history, you'll want to check Heroes of Normandy, the card game, out. There are a bunch of add-on scenarios in the campaign, but the base Heroes of Normandy card game takes a pledge of €30 plus shipping. Coming from Draw Lab, which might be better known for their metal coins and dice chuckers, Mystic Scrolls is a real-time dice game in which players are racing to claim the Mystic Scroll and complete their own spells by matching symbols on the cards with symbols on the dice. Completed spells mean you take more dice from the shared pool, and the round ends when the dice pool is empty or the Mystic Scroll is claimed. Spells activate at the end of the round, dealing damage and healing players. This is a fast-paced game in which the last wizard standing wins. Mystic Scrolls comes with over 40 custom dice, and getting a copy of the game will take a pledge of £23 plus shipping. Lore Fate's Challenge features the gorgeous, moody art of designer Corey Fields. In this simple card game, players take on the roles of muses who are crafting the lore of the people. You do that by collecting sigil cards to complete the requirements on your lore cards. Players can draw cards from the lore or the fate deck or even the discard pile. And there are bonuses for using cards that match your muse, and there are sorcery and curse cards that shake up the gameplay a bit. Without a doubt, the gorgeous art takes up the game a notch, and a copy of Lore Fate's Challenge takes a pledge of just $20. Speaking of great art, The Captain is Dead Lockdown is a new expansion for The Captain is Dead. In this one, your ship has been captured and you're stuck in an asteroid field. In this cooperative game, players will be sneaking around the ship to unlock systems to try and regain control of the ship from the hostile alien force. But everything you do will trigger alarms, and then weapons get set to kill, and your team is in trouble. The crew have unique abilities and can use skill cards to secure tools and other bonuses. You do need the base game to play this expansion, which adds a ton of new content to the game, including new aliens, crew, weapons, and more. The art in The Captain is Dead is incredibly cool, and as a cooperative game with a ton of content, it plays 1 to 7 players. If you do have the base game, you can get this expansion for $40. But if you need The Captain is Dead as well, that'll take a pledge of $59. Okay, that's all I've got for you this episode. Hopefully something caught your eye. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Okay, and we're back. I missed last week while I was moving here. I moved from the United States to Dubai, which kind of came out of nowhere. You've been very concerned. How is Jared doing in his new environment? Well, you'll be glad to hear I was able to find board game groups without any trouble at all. There's both a RPG group and just a straight board gaming group that meet at a hotel within walking distance of my apartment. I was able to go this week for the first time. Had a terrific experience, met a lot of people from all around the world. Dubai is a country that's full of expats, so it's a very diverse group. I was able to play Fuse, and then I was able to play Imperial Assault. They meet Tuesday and Saturday, so hopefully I'll be able to hit at least one of those every week. But it's very exciting, very fun, and it's good to know that no matter where you are, the spirit of the Dice Tower will always be with you. So, we'll check in with you later. Thanks for the update. Bye-bye.
That's what I was looking for. Oh. Hey folks, Tom Vasel here.
Jason Levine.
Today we have a question from Lindsay, and they say, how much is an app worth to the price of a game? Okay, they're from Australia, so their prices are even higher than ours. But, for example, Mansions of Madness was a pretty expensive game, and World of Yoho is another game. Both those games absolutely 100% need the app. So when you buy the game for that price, you say, oh, this doesn't seem like you're getting worth the stuff in the box. Should you include the app in your consideration with how expensive the game is or not?
I do. I think, especially the two games that you mentioned, I think that the app is a vital part of the game. It's actually a useful element of the game. Or Alchemist, or any games like that that use an app in a part of the gameplay aspect. I think you definitely include the fact that the developers not only had to develop a board game and put together all your pieces, but they had to develop an app to go with the board game to make the board game work well. And to me, I consider that part of the price when I purchase a game like that.
Yeah, I agree too. So, like for example, I'm just purchasing the new Mansions of Madness expansions. Okay, with each of those, I'm getting a bunch of pieces for the game, but I'm also getting another whole scenario to play through, another whole app situation to play through, and that stuff is not easy or free to develop. Someone has to be paid to do that sort of thing, and I think by saying, well, that's not worth anything, you're devaluing what those people are doing. Now, we often get kind of mundane about apps. We're like, oh, an app's 99 cents. But really good apps are not. They cost more money. And this is like a full-blown game. Usually with these apps like World Yoho and Mansions of Madness, you're not getting advertisements in the middle of it. They're not asking you, hey, pay 500 gems to increase the level of your characters. There's no microtransactions. It's a one-and-done thing. And I think that definitely should be included in the price.
Yeah, especially like World of Yoho. With World of Yoho, this is your playing piece. Your playing piece is actually your phone. So it's doing so much, and it is worth the money. I mean, you don't get a lot of pieces in the game of World of Yoho because this is your piece. You move it around. You're sailing your boat. This is your piece. So yes, it's definitely worth it when you could use this and use your iPhone and get all these cool apps. And I mean, the new one that's going to be coming out, First Martian, which is Robinson Crusoe in Mars. Not only are you going to be able to play the game, but you get the legacy feel because there's going to be infinite stories to the game, so you don't know what kind of cards you're going to get each time because it's going to be infinite possibilities, and they could always add more of them down the road. And that's one of the things I really like about apps.
All right, I agree.
Hello there, Board Game Inspector Bob Boxfart here. Today, on Board Game Theatre, political intrigue and the theatrics of court reign supreme. These dealings take place both in the open and in secret. Backroom deals and assassin's blades keep the politics fluid. Yet whoever can exercise the most favor over the various nobles in this shifting quagmire is sure to emerge victorious.
And now we start the game royals. Which baron will be influenced? Which countess? Which princess? Or with the marshal?
No, I don't think the marshal.
I don't think the marshal either.
No, I don't think about him either. She'll take both of the German and one from the top. I shall influence the Baron of Cologne.
Oh my.
He is influenced. I will take the victory points in front of me. We shall discard them. And I shall put an influence on the Baron. Baron is influenced.
He's not the Baron, he's the Duke.
I'm taking back my play and I shall pass.
It is all right, Duke. They mean it in fun. It is in jest, I do promise.
Fun at all. There's no fun in this.
Well, you see, the Baron and the Duke are brothers. The Duke is the elder brother and the Baron is the younger brother. They're twins, so they're virtually the same person. But they're very strong rivals, so when I'm with the Baron, of course, the Duke is nothing. But when I'm with the Duke, well, the Baron is nothing. It's just a little bit of intrigue.
I'm trying to needle him and get under his skin.
What is talking?
I am the Duke, not to be mistaken with my little brother, the Baron. I cringe at his name. I will win this game, and no one can stop me. I am a brilliant tactician, and also a pretty good musician, if I do say so myself.
I have not yet begun to get under your skin.
Oh, now the game is afoot.
Well,
Countess!
what game? Are you speaking of the 74th annual... sorry, wrong line.
There is much intrigue in the land, but it is good to be the king.
Hey, welcome to the 101. Like I promised, we were going to paint tanks this week, and I'm going to show you how to get the Sherman looking like this. So, what we're going to do is the first thing we're going to do, and we're going to do this in under a minute, is the one thing that you want to go out is go down to your local hobby store, and believe it or not, Testers has some of the best olive drab paint you can get, and this stuff works really, really well on those plastic models. So, go down and get it. I'm going to spray paint mine, and we're going to come back down to the table and take a look. Now, as you can see, we have a nice olive drab spray painted on there. Next thing you're going to want to do is just paint those tracks. You're going to paint them black all the way around. From there, we're just going to take some lead belcher or a dark silver, and what we're going to do is just kind of go over those tracks real quick. Now from here, after we just dry brush a little silver in a little bit of the areas, what we're going to do is take a Nurgling green. As you can see, it's a lighter green, so we're going to want to dry brush it. So we're going to want to get it on our paintbrush and put as little as possible, and leave a little as possible on our brush and wipe it all off and just dry brush over the tank. So let's do that and see how it looks at the end. As you can see, just by hitting those high points, it brings out the tank a little bit more. As you can see over the edges, we have a nice lighter feel to it and a little bit more 3-dimension. And there you go, instant Sherman tank, just like that. As you can see, tanks are really easy to do. Doing those Shermans are really, really a lot of fun and easy and quick to do. It's a great confidence builder, and it's something you can get to the table real quick, especially with this game, Tanks, which is just a fantastic game. So that's it for this week from the 101. Until next time, I'm Rob Orrin, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, so I didn't do as many reviews last week, but I'm definitely going to increase the number that I'm going to do this week. So this week, I'm going to be taking a look at Deadpool Yahtzee, the expansions for the game Epic, Myth, the Harry Potter deck building game, Flight for Olympus, Berg Fladenstein, Heroes of Cascaria, the expansion for Scythe, Pirate Lords, and the new Dice Masters expansion, Deadpool. So there's a lot of that, and I'm going to be doing top 100s. This whole week, I'm going to finish my whole top 100 series. So each day, starting on, I believe it's starting on Tuesday. Yeah, starting tomorrow, you're going to see the top 100. So boom, 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 all the way through the end of the week. I hope you enjoy those. All right, let's get back to the rest of the show.
Hello, Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise here, continuing the conversation about errors in board game production and documentation, the impact that it can have on the user experience, and what, if anything, can be done to prevent these types of issues from happening in the first place. Well, the gut reaction to the question of how to prevent production errors is to establish better systems, tighter procedures, and stricter protocols during the production process. But I believe that that approach on its own is flawed and results in just as many production errors. No, instead, a board game publisher needs to go a step deeper. Producing a dud board game is certainly costly to a publisher, but it pales in comparison to the risk taken by oil companies every time they break ground on a new oil well. Now, digging an oil well is a very expensive endeavor, but even so, only 1 out of every 8 new wells successfully strikes oil. Now, those other 7 failed wells are what oil companies refer to as a dry hole. The company BP wanted to drastically reduce the cost of their failure rate. To accomplish this, they changed their oil drilling policy. Their drilling policy simply became no dry holes. At first, many at BP scoffed at this idea. But then something happened. Since every employee from top to bottom now had a clear, concise, shared objective, every fragment of data, every step in preparation, and every potential drilling location began to be evaluated against the criteria of 0 dry holes being drilled. The result? By the year 2000, BP's success rate had risen from 1 out of 8 to an industry-leading 2 out of 3. So what can the board game industry learn from this? Well, by adopting a no dry holes mentality, every design meeting, production policy, document edit, file transfer, and print proof, they all start to automatically be checked against the question of what errors could be introduced in this step of the process, and how do we prevent it before it even happens? Having one simple, single, finite, concrete rule to weigh all development decisions against results in those better systems, tighter procedures, and stricter protocols that companies usually try starting with. The result that follows naturally is fewer dry holes, or in this case, fewer board games with typos and production problems, and an overall far higher success rate for the industry.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another segment of Board Gaming with Colleagues with To Die For Games. I'm Mandy, the board gaming pinup girl.
I'm Tracy, the gaming maven.
And I'm Steph, the games teacher. You know, last night I watched this old ninja movie from the 80s, and it reminded me of this game that I want to show you girls how to play during
lunchtime! So today we're looking at the game Linja, which was created by Stefan Mühlhauser and was published by Foxmind Games. It takes about 15 to 30 minutes to play.
The objective is to get all of your pieces to your opponent's end, to get 6 of them at their very home end, and it triggers endgame.
I love the simplicity of the components in this game. Just a bunch of sticks and some tokens to move your pieces around. You can set it up anywhere. And you need about a square foot or so of table space, not much more than that. So it plays in a small confined space too.
So I should have mentioned as well that this is a 2-player game. I first played this with you guys, was it a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago? And abstract games are hit or miss for me, but I really enjoyed this one. And I think I played the strategy that you said most people go for and it doesn't work, and you were absolutely right. I just tried to get all my pieces there as quickly as possible. Don't do that.
No, the subtlety is moving things at just the right point, because when you move a piece, you get to move a second piece based on the number of pieces in that row. So you gotta plan that ahead.
Yeah, I'm not a planner. So, lunch break is going to be over soon, so gotta give it a go. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.
So earlier in the news, I was talking about, we talked about Will Wheaton and how they were taking their content and moving it to a paid channel. Now they already have a paid Twitch stream channel, and there's other content that you can pay to see on the internet. And we're kind of in a new era when it comes to paid versus free. And everyone has different philosophies, and I'm certainly not going to say anyone's philosophy is wrong. With the Dice Tower, I've always thought, hey, let's have everything be free, and then if people want to pay, they can pay. And that's what the Kickstarter is. It's a way for us to raise money for the Dice Tower. But is it possible to have a sort of situation where there is a subscription service? I know that many people have tried it, but I'm not sure that it's possible to do until you already have a big audience. And then if you have a big audience, that switch to paying for things, people can get upset over. It's really kind of a weird situation that we're in. I remember when I first got married and paid my cable bill. My cable bill was a pretty hefty bill. I wanted to get all these channels, so I paid a good amount for that bill. Nowadays, I look at Netflix, and if Netflix goes from $10 to $12 a month, we're like, what? These guys are gouging us. But if you think about what you're getting compared to what we got 20 years ago, it's amazing. Even like a game on the iPad or if it costs $2, people get really upset over that thing. And so, should content be free? Do you deserve content? See, one of the things that this has really affected is magazines. Magazines about board games have never been able to take off because people have to subscribe to them, which means people have to pay money. Because unlike what I'm doing, magazines can't be free. There's actually a physical product involved. They actually have to pay the presses to print it and then actually physically ship it to people. And every magazine that's been about games, even Games magazine, is no longer around. It's only, I don't even know if the online version's around, but there are games magazines that are around, and people will probably talk about them in the comments, but the fact is, every time they come around, they seemingly die out, and the only time I've seen them have any sort of success is when they include a promo to a game inside them, and then people will go and buy that magazine just to get the promo. See, why should we buy a magazine with articles about board games and reviews on board games when the internet has a lot of that stuff for free, and the internet also will have it quicker? A magazine has to be done way over a month ahead of time. So there are some magazines out there that are trying to do things differently. There's the Casual Games Insider, which is talking about family-style games, and so they're marketing towards stores, but even they run a Kickstarter and use advertisement to get most of the cost of them putting it out there. And I don't know if it will succeed or not. It is a decent magazine, and they have some good articles. And some people will say, well, a magazine is better because there is an editor. And I definitely have to grant that point. Having an editor for a magazine, because he'll sit there and go, that's not good, you need to rewrite that. An editor is going to decide what pieces, and a good editor can make a really good magazine. We also have e-magazines, but again, there's so much free content out there. So what do you do? Is there a way to have premium content to say this content is better than this content? And even that happens sometimes with Patreon, right? Different podcasts and stuff will do Patreon, and they'll say, here's our Patreon for our podcast. But only the people who back the Patreon, they have access to this special one. I do a lot of I read a lot of comics online and different things, and they'll have special things that are Patreon only. And my question is, what do you guys think about that? Do we deserve everything for free? I don't think we do. I think that if something is good, you should pay for it. But sometimes it's hard to pay for something without knowing if it's good, which is why I personally prefer the donation model. So if I see a website and I'm like, wow, this website's really good. This just happened to me a couple weeks ago where I used the board game website, and I was like, wow, this is really good. And I noticed they had a PayPal thing, so I went and donated to that website because I thought that was good content. I'll pay for it later. Almost as the shareware concept back in the days where you would get the computer program and you could play through the first level. Then you're like, oh, I want to play more of this, and then you would pay and get the rest of it. And I really like that model. But is that model an efficient one? We're kind of really changing in our society today. So this is what I like to see in the comments. I'd like you guys to tell me, I'm not asking this, don't worry, I'm not asking this because I'm considering taking the Dice Tower down a paid route. I'm not. Okay, the Dice Tower is currently going to stay the same way that we are, where our money comes from a little advertising, but mostly from our Kickstarter. But I'm curious what you guys think. Would you pay for a dedicated channel to board gaming? Would you pay for a magazine or electronic magazine if you thought it was a really good magazine? And if so, what is the maximum amount that you would pay? Or do you think content should be free and we should go down the donation route? Or do you think that online people, they don't deserve money at all? That they're just doing it up there, they're getting joy, they get the hobby, they might get a free game, and that's what they should be happy with? Or when is someone's content worth monetizing? These are interesting questions. For me, it was kind of an evolution over the past 12, 13 years, where I didn't expect to make any money at all at the beginning, and now it's my job. But I'm curious, today people want to jump into it, the deep end. What would you recommend to those people? Let me know what you think. Anyway, that's what I think, kind of, sort of. I guess I'm mostly asking you guys what you think. So today is You Thinks.
Hi guys. A farmer in Troutbeck in England has had enough of the thieves that keep stealing his sheep. He has lost 300 of them over the last 4 years, but he has come up with an unusual plan that saves his sheep from being nicked. He has painted all 800 of them bright orange. The sheep don't seem to mind, and the tourists seem to love it. There are no chemicals in the dye, and in the spring, once sheared, they will regain their usual white color. This week I am playing a game that is basically 4 games into one, where it is all about moving the sheep within the flock. This week I am playing Sheer Panic. In Sheer Panic, players move their beautiful crafted sheep around using one of their 12 actions. For example, you can move one sheep, you can push a whole row or a whole column, or you can rotate the flock. Why do you do this? Well, to make points. There are 4 little mini games inside this game. The first game you want to play with the sheep is try to have your colored sheep stand next to each other at the end of your turn. The next game is when you meet up with the handsome Roger, you of course want to be in front. And the next game is stand next to the black sheep. And the last game is stand away as far as you can from the shearer. The action board has 12 action spaces. You can use each space only once. Every action space has a small number on it, and that works as a timer. After each action, the timer moves that many steps forward, activating an extra movement on the board, but foremost tell you what kind of game we will be playing next turn. The sheep look and feel great. It doesn't hit the table that much, but when it does, it's fun to play. Maybe it's something for you. Sheer Panic. My name is Dave Luza. Thanks for watching.
Hello, my name is Niels from Cyril's Brettspiele, and again, the best and the worst. And today we are talking about Citrus from DLP Games, and take a look what I like on it. And probably there's something I don't like it. I don't know. My favorite part on Citrus is it is, even for a box like this and for DLP games, it is so easy to learn, so fast to play. You only have 2 possible actions on your turn. Either buy new tiles here and bring them to the board, or just recall your workers. That's the only 2 options you have, and that is so easy, so fast, so smooth. It flows so well and so great. There's one thing I don't like too much on it, and I will show it to you closely. The thing is, the artwork really supports the theme and the feeling of a citrus hain in Italy, of a finca. However, in a bad light or lightning, or when people are a little bit colorblind, it's really hard. So the artwork really support the theme, but it doesn't really support the flow of the game, and it's really hard to see different colors. As you can see, light orange and red and purple. That is really, really tough. So keep that in mind. Colors are not the perfect example and artwork for Citrus. Thanks for joining me on The Best and the Worst for Citrus from DLP Games. My name is Niels. See you next time. Cyrils Brettspiele. Bye bye.
Hi, my name's Dave Adams. Welcome to Good Game, Better Gamers. Now, I have just shared with you 10 games that I've played 10 times or am still trying to play 10 times for the purposes of appreciating my game collection more. But that doesn't mean I haven't learned things on the way. In fact, as I've played, I've developed a certain sense of understanding about these games that I think is useful to me as a person. There's a term that we use called grokking, and grokking is generally used in gaming, but I suppose it has applications elsewhere. But grokking is when you understand something to the point that it becomes intuitive. Now, as someone who's built a game collection, there's few games in my collection I can say that I've actually grokked. How the mechanics work, the decisions involved in building optimal play, those sorts of things come with experience and can only be achieved through regular play. And for most of my collection, I can't say that I've achieved that. However, playing these games multiple times, I've started to get to a point with some of them where I feel genuinely that my turn and the play that I'm doing is more and more intuitive. So that means that instead of having to tax myself to really think through every decision or the benefits or the cost risks of making a decision, I'm instead making plays more intuitively. And what that has done is it's actually opened up for me more options and more plays that weren't necessarily available to me because I was so focused or concentrated on just trying to get the basics down. I've started to see avenues of play, new ways of doing things, and it's really made the games far more interesting for me. Even the lighter games have become more interesting for me because I get to try things. I get to give stuff a go and say, well, I wonder if this works. Well, it didn't, or it did, and so I'm a better player for it. Grokking actually provides quite a few benefits, and I'm going to share a few more in future episodes. So until then, thanks for listening. I'm Dave Adams, and enjoy your breakfast.
Hello, my name's Dan, and this is Cora, and we're here to talk to you about games for children of around 5 and under. Today we're going to talk about this game, probably one you've never heard of before. What's this one called?
Guess Who.
Guess Who. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to play Guess Who, as I'm fairly sure that pretty much everyone in the game-playing world knows the rules for this one. However, I did want to cover it here, just as a reminder not to overlook mass-market games. Sometimes popular games are popular for a reason, and kids don't care if a game is made by a trendy geek favourite company like Habba, or a huge evil soulless megacorporation like Hasbro. Guess Who is a great deduction game, and can be just as enjoyable for adults as it is for kids, especially if you play it so the grown-up has to guess 2 people at the same time instead of just 1. Our version of the game is Guess Who Extra, which gives you a few sets of extra characters to guess from, as well as all the traditional ones. It also has some buzzers, which you can press for wrong and right answers, or at least you could do if I ever got round to changing the batteries. So Cora, do you like Guess Who? Yeah? What do you like about it?
I like all the different questions.
Yeah, you like asking questions?
And the different characters.
And the different characters. And some of them got loads of hair and stuff like that, like me, haven't they?
Yeah, Bob.
What? How dare you? I've got loads of lovely hair.
You've only got some, on there and everything. And a little speck on here. A
little speck on the top? Oh, well, that's very disappointing. Anyway, Guess Who? It's an old one, but one that you shouldn't really overlook. One of our favourites. 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
Hypothetically, a restaurant opens up down the street. It's, I don't know, for argument's sake, a chimp-themed beachside bar and grill. All the staff dress like chimps. There's a pun-heavy, chimp-orientated menu. I'll have the chimpy chongas, please, and a small portion of chimps, cheesy chimps, and a milkshake, please, large. Yeah, banana, yeah, fine. Now, a restaurant over the road that has no theme, but has great cooks and prices and staff and service, I'd eat there all the time. Because sometimes I just want to eat good food. I don't care about a theme. And even restaurants with great themes like Mexican food or Chinese food, I still wouldn't want that every night. After a while, it'd get real dull. Alright, okay, this analogy doesn't work perfectly, but it's an argument for themeless games. Sometimes I just want a game that's good, that's got a good mechanic. I don't care what the theme is, or even if it has a theme at all. I've used in the past the example of Wiete Earp, or Wyatt Earp for people who didn't know him. This is a rummy-based game, and I can play this game twice in a row, alright? But I can't play it all night. But Rummy, the game is based on, I can play again and again and again and have for hours. So consider that maybe next time that big Euro comes along with absolutely no theme other than some pasted on nonsense. It might just be a good game, regardless. Or it could be awful. I mean, there is always that chance. Yeah, for dessert, what's better, the lemon cheesecake or the chocolate chimp brownie? You're dead inside, aren't you?
And that's it for Board Game Breakfast. Don't forget, Top 100 this week. You're going to see a lot of, well, I'm going to finish my Top 100 list this week, and you're going to see a lot of reviews. I really do have a lot planned. Don't forget, come back at 2 o'clock today for some Q&A. There's a possibility that you'll see other Q&As throughout the week. Not guaranteeing it, but it's possible, okay? And we're getting ready for Essen. Essen. If you are planning to go to Essen, we will be there. We will have a booth there. Come by and see us. We're going to be doing a show on Friday at 5 o'clock. We'll have all that information in our next Board Game Breakfast for sure, and we'll put it on our website too. Anyway, until then, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Board Game Breakfast.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at CoolStuffInc.com.